Welcome to another episode of Pros Who Know. Ask Holly. Today we are talking scams with Holly Sammons. She is the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida. And as the holiday season approaches, boy, we've got some specialty scams running right now. And I'm going to talk over the ambient audio that's above us. So Holly, tell me what consumers really need to be on the lookout for this time of year.
So one scam that we can be sure to see every year revolves around the IT toy, the IT products that are sure to pop up in the next couple of weeks, if not, next few days. I've not seen yet what's going to be the hot IT toy for this year, but you can bet that once the consumers decide what that's going to be, and once parents start standing in line and scrambling to find it to put it under their tree, scammers are going to find a way to take advantage of that. Last year we saw it with the little fingerling animals, people selling knockoffs of those, and you had the Hatchimals and different things like that. It happens every year. Years ago, we saw it with the various versions of the Elmo dolls and things, but you're going to see better than average or unbelievably low prices for the IT toy, and you're going to be tempted to get out your wallet and make a purchase, even though you know it's a little bit too good to be true. You're going to take a chance. The website may look almost right, but not quite right, but you're still willing to take a chance. You're not only risking the amount of money you're going to pay for that toy and maybe never receive, but you're also plugging in your personal information and your credit card information to a website that you don't know if you can trust. And if a business is willing to go to the extent to create a lookalike site or to sell counterfeit or to straightforwardly, fraudulently sell the IT toy online, which, again, you may or may never receive, then who knows what they're going to do with your credit card information. So we want to make sure that we warn consumers that once that toy or once that item has been determined and once you know what it is, if you see a price that's 50, 75% off of retail, you know that stores don't have to discount that item. It's in high demand. So if you see it greatly reduced, be careful what you click on, be careful the sites you go to purchase it, and you want to make sure that you really pay attention that you're only purchasing on sites that are secure, and make sure that the company or the business is a brand you're familiar with, because again, you're not only putting at risk the $20 or the $45 or whatever that you may be spending on that item. You're also putting at risk your credit card information, because who knows where it's going or how it's going to be used. So that's a warning we like to give as soon as possible in the holiday season, because we absolutely know that it's coming.
Well, this is also the time of year that a lot of charitable causes will appeal to consumers' pocketbooks for donations. Are there some things we should be on the lookout in terms of charitable giving during the holiday seasons?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are inclined to give during the holiday season, and many of us are, be careful that you don't make those decisions on the fly, that you don't make those decisions strictly based on emotion. Pay attention to where you're giving your dollars. If it's important to you to give to a charity that, let's say, is related to cancer research or to children or to the homeless or whatever you're passionate about, you want to make sure that your dollars are used towards that purpose and not necessarily ending up in the pockets of maybe professional fundraisers or a scammer. One thing consumers should know is if you receive a call, especially a cold call from a solicitor offering to take your donation, they may be offering to give you a decal or a sticker for your car in exchange for your donation. They may be offering to, you may be adopting, or you may be, purchasing a piece of a zoo animal or what have you. There are all different kinds of appeals at this time of year. What you should be aware of is, especially if it's a cold call and if it comes by phone, you should be careful who you're talking to, because they could be a professional fundraiser. Is that a legitimate business? Yes, it's a legal, legitimate business. But what you should be aware of as the donor is, for every dollar you give, only about out of a dollar, maybe a nickel, maybe going back to the fund.
A nickel?
the lion's share of the money you're giving is going to the professional fundraiser. So if you are not able to obtain the details of the donation, how much is going to the charity, how much is going to the professional fundraiser, that's important to know. Because if you're passionate about that and you give, $20, and it turns out that of your 20, 75 cents or $1 really is all that's going to the cause, that's probably not a donation you would make.
That is great advice. I did not know that.
Yeah, so you want to ask of the person who's calling you, who do you work for? And they will hem and haw around that question, and you say, who signs your check? Do you work for XYZ charity or XYZ law enforcement agency, or are you a professional solicitor? And if they are a professional solicitor, you should know that the person you're speaking to and the company they work for are going to take a piece out of your donation. If you're okay with that, fine. If you're not okay with that, you want to make sure that you make the donation directly to the charity or the cause that you're passionate about.
So this is a good segue into the Scam Tracker, which is a service offered by the Better Business Bureau.
Right.
Tell us how that works.
So you can find Scam Tracker at bbb.org/Scam Tracker, or you can just Google BBB Scam Tracker. It's really cool. You can look at the map of North America, and there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of little dots on the map. And you can drill down to your state. You can drill down to your community. You can drill down almost to street level and see what other consumers are reporting in the way of scams. If you receive a phone call that doesn't sit right with you, or you receive a message, a voicemail or an email that you're not quite sure about, you can go to Scam Tracker and search by keyword, pick something out of the email or the voicemail or the phone call, search by keyword and see, have other consumers reported a similar experience? How much money have they lost? What was their experience? And if you can find the details of your experience there on Scam Tracker, you are going to be much more educated and empowered to make a decision. And you may feel less alone. We find consumers, they're embarrassed that they've been taken advantage of, but we really encourage people to report, because your information can help other consumers be better prepared and maybe not fall for it. But especially if it sounds too good to be true, and maybe before you complete the transaction or before you call them back, your gut says check. Visit bbb.org, visit Scam Tracker, and look and see, is this legit, or have other consumers been taken advantage of?
A lot of these scams look and feel so legitimate. I signed up to be a secret shopper.
Right.
I was contacted via LinkedIn, which is a pretty legitimate method of contact. I received a cashier's check for $2,800 to then go buy gift cards, to buy merchandise for it to be picked up. Well, I had enough sense to know, if you're sending me a cashier's check for this amount of money and you don't know me, it's probably a scam. But it was very convincing.
Right. Did you ever speak to anyone by phone?
No, by text.
It was by text. Or LinkedIn.
Or LinkedIn.
Okay, yeah. And so they weren't willing to talk to you by phone.
No.
I mean, $2,800 is a considerable amount of money to never have a conversation with a real person.
Absolutely.
So what was your first red flag? The amount of the check?
The cashier's check, first of all, because they didn't know me. And then they wanted me to cash the check, use the money to buy gift cards, to then go back and buy merchandise with the gift cards, to then come and have it picked up at my house.
Right.
Oh, but by the way, you're supposed to fill out a survey about the shopping experience.
Right. Which they hope will legitimize the process.
Exactly.
Right.
So I guess, can they claw back a cashier's check, the funds? Is that how the scam works?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
what happens is you receive the cashier's check, or sometimes if it's a work from home type scam, you receive a check from a company. They ask you to deposit the check.
Okay.
And it takes the bank a little bit of time to figure out that it's bogus, or that it's drawn on an account that doesn't exist, or that in some cases, because many of us we believe, and we have come to know, that cashier's check, that's as good as cash.
Right.
But many of them now we're seeing are completely bogus, and that it's not a real cashier's check. Even if it is, it could be drawn on, it could have been drawn on an account that was bogus. So by the time your bank catches up to what has happened, you have already taken money out of your account to go purchase these gift cards. You have already taken money out of your account to visit a site they gave you to purchase merchandise. by the way, the site you visit to purchase merchandise, that's them too. So you're sending money out of your pocket,
right,
back to them, and then sometimes they'll have you keep some for yourself, and then send the excess.
A little
back.
token amount. It was like $300 out of $2,800, I believe. Right.
But they need this to happen quickly because the time is the clock is ticking until your bank calls and says, "This is no good. We're taking this amount of money out of your account." And for many people, let's say in your case, $2,800. For many people, you deposit a check for $2,800. You keep $300 for yourself. You go spend the rest of that money. Many people don't have $2,800 to lose, and so then your account is overdrawn, and the problems spiral from there because the bank is going to recoup their, they're going to recoup their loss. And so you're going to be left holding the bag, and then the scammers have recouped real money.
And it's interesting because they are very aggressive. The text started coming in. Did you receive the check? Have you gone to the store? Have you bought
you to go quickly.
Now, yeah. So they were very aggressive. You know, another popular scam, and we almost fell victim to this. And I consider myself a pretty savvy consumer, by the way.
Yeah.
We were looking for a full-bred bull mastiff puppy, and we thought we found the perfect one online. And through the process, it came down to wiring money for the puppy, and then we realized that was a scam.
Right. So Better Business Bureau this past year did an international investigation on puppy scams, and we're going to talk more about that at another time on another show because there's a lot to talk about there. It's a pretty complicated, complex scam, but this time of year especially, we want to let people know that if you're considering buying a puppy for the holidays, you want to make sure you know who you're dealing with. You want to make sure that you have a chance to lay your eyes on the puppy before money exchanges hands. If the puppy is to be shipped from a breeder, in the country, shipped to you, buyer beware. Beware that you may be seeing the same photo and the same video that hundreds or thousands of other people are seeing. And that same image may have been taken from a legitimate breeder's website.
Right.
And they're going to take your $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. You're going to wire them the money. Once you wire the money's gone.
That's right.
And you may or may not ever receive a puppy. Chances are, if you're wiring money to someone, you found them online, all those telltale signs are there, the puppy's never coming, the money is gone. Sometimes we see that best case scenario, if you can say that, if a puppy is received, it may not be exactly what you were promised, and it may not be healthy. So you want to make sure that you find a legitimate breeder who is breeding healthy, quality animals, and someone that you can trust to complete this transaction with. It's a lot of money, but what else is at stake when you're purchasing a pet is emotion.
That's right.
They need you to fall in love with this puppy.
My daughter was heartbroken.
Right.
She'd already picked out puppy toys.
Well, we see in the puppy scam that some people, once they take your initial deposit or they take the money for the puppy, then you start receiving texts or messages that the puppy is sick. And now they need more money for the puppy to get healthy before they can ship it to you. Guess what? They're just taking more and more and more of your money. You have to be careful up front before you start communicating with a scammer like this, because it tugs at your heartstrings and it's going to empty your wallet.
It's interesting. Scams have become so much more sophisticated in the internet age. We used to worry about the Nigerian email scam where you send your money abroad and some Nigerian prince,
still happening, by the way. Still happening.
$5 million.
Yeah.
But wow, they really do have a legitimate front to a lot of these scams. And you can see how it would be so easy for a lot of people to fall victim to these things.
Well, if you're when it's so easy nowadays to complete a transaction and make a purchase based on a photo online,
right?
It's so easy to cut and paste an image, and you can craft a relationship. You can craft a back and forth conversation where you gain trust and where you build a relationship. You feel comfortable sending money. Maybe they send you videos of this sweet little puppy, and what you don't realize is it's almost a catfish situation.
It's absolutely a catfish situation.
But there's a puppy, at stake, and the person you're talking to has no intention of sending you a puppy. Can you purchase a puppy online from a legitimate breeder? Yes, absolutely. It's certainly possible. Believe me, legitimate breeders who are breeding puppies and have websites to show their litters of puppies, they're being hurt by this too. The consumers are becoming much, much more wary of making a decision online about, bringing a new pet into their home because so many people are being taken advantage of. And so we feel like we're doing what's best for consumers and legitimate business owners by getting the word out there that you have to really be careful. And especially the holiday season, if you think bringing a puppy home, now's the time to do it. You want to make sure that you speak to a reputable breeder and that you're actually able to lay eyes and maybe even lay your hands on a puppy so that you can be sure there's really a furry friend out there and that it's not just a scammer.
Well, Holly, we could talk for days and days and days about all the different scams out there,
Right.
but we're going to wrap up this episode with a request. If you are listening or watching us, write Holly, ask Holly. Share your questions. So
Yeah.
you can send an email to askholly@wkmg.com. I'm sure, like myself, you probably have a question or two about a business or a transaction or a service
Or something that just didn't sit right.
exactly.
Right.
So we know we have the scam tracker, and we know we can submit reviews, and we know we can file complaints at the Better Business Bureau, and now we can ask Holly directly on our podcast.
We really want this show to be what you want to hear about. What information do you want to know more about? Better Business Bureau, we're here for you to receive your customer reviews and your complaints, but we would much rather hear from consumers ahead of time
Right.
rather than receiving their complaint, because then there's already something's gone wrong. So we would much rather educate and hear from you and educate you up front so that you can have a positive experience rather than having to hear from you later. So we want to hear your questions. We want to receive those questions so that we can make this show what's good for you and what you want to hear.
All right. Well, Holly, thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us. And stay tuned. We will continuously launch new episodes of Pros Who Know Ask Holly. So much to talk about, so stay tuned. And thanks for joining us.